You might think you know how people in Hollywood deal with sadness. You'd expect black sunglasses, official notes from managers, and polite requests for privacy on the news. But what's happening now with Shirley MacLaine is not like that at all. It's not polite, and it's for sure not planned. When a woman who's been in this business for 70 years, who's 91 years old, and has lost more friends than she can count, decides to call and talk without any plan, you listen. Because Shirley isn't just talking about the sad death of Rob Reiner. She's pulling back the curtain on the weeks before it happened. And what she says changes how everyone sees this whole story. This wasn't some big press conference. No cameras were on her. This was a real, honest phone call that happened yesterday afternoon from her home. And the things she shared have shocked the close group of famous people who thought they knew what was going on in the Reiner home. Shirley didn't cry. She didn't give the usual sad words. She sounded angry. She sounded like a woman who's tired of keeping secrets that end up causing deaths. She said clearly that Rob Reiner didn't just die. He was attacked in his own house. And the worst part is that he knew it was coming and didn't stop it because of a weakness that every parent hopes they never face. You need to understand the relationship here. Shirley MacLaine and Rob Reiner go way back. They come from that old Hollywood time where friendships were built strong, not online. They worked together, and word is they spent time in the same political circles. They both had a doubtful view of fame and a strong, almost deep belief in how important stories are. But Shirley, with all her talk about mystery and past lives, has always been really smart about how people act in this life. She told people yesterday that the last time she saw Rob, about 3 weeks before it happened, he wasn't the loud, excited guy we saw on TV fighting for causes. He was getting smaller. That's the word she used. Getting smaller. She talked about sitting with him and Michelle and feeling a heavy feeling in the room that was hard to breathe in. Shirley said, Rob, who usually told jokes first or argued about politics, sat the whole time looking out the window at the driveway. He was waiting. He was scared of who might drive up. And this is where the story changes from a random sad event to something much darker and something that could have been stopped. Shirley says the family knew Nick was falling apart way before police got involved. We're not talking about just going back to bad habits. We're talking about a full mental breakdown that was made worse by feeling he deserved everything and being angry. And Rob was trying to handle it with money and hugs. And Shirley told him it wouldn't work. She said it right to his face. You're feeding a shark and hoping it turns into a dolphin. That's the quote everyone's thinking about today, because she was right. It's key to look at the real facts coming out now, checked by people who were really there, not gossip magazines guessing. The idea that Nick Reiner just suddenly lost it is wrong. From what's coming out now and what Shirley hinted at, this built up over time. There were police calls to the Brentwood house in October and November that were kept secret, or at least not in the news, because of who Rob Reiner was. When you're that famous and powerful, you can keep things hidden. You can tell police it's just family stuff, that your son is having a tough time, that you can handle it. Rob tried to protect Nick's name until the very end of his life. He didn't want his son to be in headlines. He didn't want the world to see the arrest photo we're all looking at now. And let's talk about that arrest photo for a moment. Shirley didn't avoid it. She said when she saw Nick's face on the news, she didn't see the kid she watched grow up. She saw nothing there at all. This ties into something Tom Cruise apparently told close friends after the news. You know, Tom and Rob go way back. A Few Good Men wasn't just a film. It was a big deal for both. Tom Cruise is known for being very loyal, and people say he was one of the first to offer private guards to Romy and Jake, the kids who are still here right after the news. But even Tom, who has seen it all in Hollywood, was said to be really upset by the crime scene details. The picture that people like MacLaine are giving is that this wasn't a robbery that went bad, or a quick fight. It was a fight about who was in charge. It was about money, sure, but more than that, it was about a 32-year-old guy who thought the world owed him because of his family name and parents who were too kind to say no more. Shirley said Michelle was always the one who kept the peace. Michelle was the one who got between Rob and Nick when yelling started. And it hurts to think that her way of protecting her family probably put her right in danger that night. What Shirley is showing is the Hollywood problem that ruined this family. She talked about how tough it is to raise kids here when the parents are so big. Rob Reiner wasn't just a director. He was a huge name for Nick. Living in that shadow turned into anger. Shirley talked about a talk she had with Michelle months back, where Michelle said they were changing locks on the guest house. Not to keep out strangers, but to keep Nick out when he was on drugs. Think about that. Living in a big safe house in Brentwood, scared of your own kid, but not able to call police because you love him. That's the pain they were in. The scariest part of what Shirley said is about how quiet everyone in Hollywood was. She called out the people who helped it happen. She said there were agents, managers, and Nick's friends who knew he was dangerous, who knew he threatened his parents, and they didn't say anything. They kept asking him to parties. They kept making him feel important. They kept acting like he was just a struggling creative person instead of someone about to explode. Shirley is 91. She doesn't worry about losing friends anymore. She's pointing out the quiet culture that lets this happen. She said, "We watched this kid fall apart, and we all nicely looked the other way because it was awkward to talk about at dinner." And now, with the court stuff, it's clear why the family is so hurt, but also why the defense will have a tough time. The lawyer, Alan Jackson, is a big name. You only hire him if you're in big trouble. He's going to try to say it was a mental health issue. Maybe not guilty because of insanity. He's going to say Nick didn't know right from wrong. But Shirley MacLaine doesn't believe it, and neither does the district attorney. The crime scene details, which we won't describe too much out of respect, but we have to say they show planning ahead. You don't cause many stabbed wounds in a blackout, and then try to clean up like the reports say happened. Nick tried to hide proof, which shows he knew he was guilty. That shows he knew what he did. The help from people like Tom Cruise and big names in Hollywood supporting the surviving kids, Jake and Romy, is the only good thing here. But even that seems empty. Shirley said that all the power in Hollywood, all the big movie successes, all the political pull Rob had, none of it could stop a sad event growing in his own home. It's a scary and humbling idea. When you hear Shirley talk, you hear someone who believes in the soul. And she said something clear about Rob's soul. She thinks he stayed in that house and situation because he believed his love could fix a brain problem, fix years of addiction. It's the sad mistake of a good parent. They think love protects you. Shirley, with her straight talk, said, "Love isn't protection when facing bad forces. Sometimes, love just makes you a target." We also have to talk about what happened that night. Police came around 10 p.m., but the coroner thinks it happened earlier. That means there was time when Nick was in the house with his dead parents. What was he doing? Who did he talk to? Did he talk to anyone? There are rumors he called a friend, someone who fixes problems, who told him to leave. If that's true, if someone helped after the crime, this case will get much bigger. Shirley hinted that police are checking phone records that might involve others, not in the killing, but in the life that led to it. The drug sellers, the people who hung around taking Nick's money, making him ask for more cash from Rob and Michelle. It's really awful. You have two people who spent their lives making movies that showed the good in people. Films like The Princess Bride and Stand By Me, and their lives end because of the bad side of people, greed and addiction. Shirley remembered how Rob talked about Stand By Me and losing innocence. He knew darkness was in kids. He built his career looking at it, but he never thought that darkness would be at his dinner table. This isn't just celebrity talk. This is like an old, sad play happening now in Los Angeles. The prosecutors are looking at special rules in California. That could mean the death penalty. But with the governor now, it's not likely. But life in prison with no way out is sure if he's found guilty. Imagine being Nick Reiner now in a jail cell in downtown LA, coming off drugs and knowing the help is gone. The parents who got him out of trouble, who paid for lawyers to fix things, they're gone because of him. No one left to call. Shirley MacLaine said she hopes he lives a long time. That sounds mean, but she explained she hopes he lives long, so he has to think about what he lost every day. She's not after revenge. She's about what goes on and comes around. And to her, there's no getting away from it. The funeral plans are very private. Of course, Romy and Jake are trying to keep their parents' memory away from the media mess. But Hollywood is sad. You can tell words from people like Billy Crystal, who's been Rob's best friend for years, are so sad. But it's Shirley's anger that stands out. We need that anger. We need someone to say this wasn't just bad luck. This was a failure of the rules, a failure to help, and a failure to see that sometimes the people we love most are the ones we need to stay safe from. There's also the money and property stuff. It feels wrong to talk about it, but in these cases, it matters. By the law, Nick can't get any money if guilty. That means everything Rob built, the money from old shows like Seinfeld, and All in the Family, and his movies, goes to Jake and Romy. But do you think they want it? Do you think they can take that money without thinking about the price? Shirley said Romy told her she just wants the house sold. She wants it torn down. She can't think of anyone living there again. And really, who would blame her? As we wait for the trial in January, more stories will come out. We'll hear about the exact arguments. We'll hear about failed tries to help. We'll hear about times Rob tried tough rules and how Nick fought back. But remember Shirley's words. Don't see this as a quick break. See it as a slow crash that everyone saw but was too nice to yell about. Rob Reiner was a guy who believed in the good in people. He believed in fair government. He believed in right and wrong and family. It's so sad that his trust in those things made him miss the danger. We lost a great person, But more, we're seeing a whole legacy ruined because of untreated mind problems and too much feeling special. Shirley ended her call with a simple, scary idea. She said, "Rob is okay now. He's with the spirits. He's with his dad, Carl. He's at peace. It's us down here who have to learn to forgive. And I don't know if I can. That's the real truth. No fancy words, no just thoughts and prayers. Just an old lady who lost her friend and is mad it happened. And maybe that's the best way to respect Rob now, by saying the plain truth like he would in one of his movies. The case is still going on, and new info comes every day. But the story it's making is full of sadness. We'll keep following, not because it's fun, but because we're here, now. But because we owe it to the ones who died to see justice happen all the way. This isn't a film. No do-overs. And for the Reiner family, the good times are over, leaving just this quiet, awful time after. What stays with you isn't the exciting details of the weapon or police tape. It's the picture of Rob Reiner weeks back, looking out his window, waiting for his son to come, and being afraid. That is the sad part. That is the truth. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. We're doing awesome. Please subscribe if you like the videos. Thank you again. See you in the next one. Have an awesome day.